on the committee which sanctions it. There is no vote provision there. In fact, India has abstained. IMF has taken note of India's abstention. But how I look at it is in a way that what they did yesterday was perhaps a recce. This is what I was told. They sent their drones, whether they were armed, they were not armed. I really don't have much idea about it. But 300 and 400 drones were sent just to locate our air defense systems. And perhaps we fooled them again.
Yes, I can add information to that. 500 drones across 24 locations. Yes. Most did not have weapon. Looked like a surveillance and prodding exercise.
Yes. And what we really fooled them yesterday. In fact, I was told by top sources in Government of India, we even didn't use all our air defense systems. We shot them down with the aircraft guns. This is what I'm being told. And that was a recce which they did yesterday. They created a lot of panic. They created a lot of noise around it. In fact, there was to camouflage their operation yesterday night. What they did was they did a press conference. They invited foreign media. In fact, they I was going through all that content last evening, Arunima. So they kind of said that what India is doing. They kind of they did spread lie against India in those press conferences. That was kind of a camouflage they wanted to do. But the idea was to struck India today, Arunima, and we thwarted all their attempts. Perhaps what Arunima is reporting for us is that all our bases are safe, and we have hit them harder this time around.
Yes. So that I think the body language, Zaka, I once again want to point out to that Rajnath Singh picture that we got yesterday morning with the 3 service chiefs and the Chief of Defence Staff. The CDS was present, the Defence Secretary was present. That showed, combat uniform, all 3 chiefs were in there, but the body language was confidence, they were smiling, and that is, I think, because they were prepared. They were quite aware of what Pakistan was up to, and they were prepared, and that preparation has held us in good stead early this morning.
All right, so I can also report to you that there was some attempt to try and disrupt the civil as well as the technical airport in Jammu. Those attempts have been thwarted by the Indian air defense systems. Remember, so the big picture is Pakistan has been trying to take out some of India's forward military bases as well as some forward air force stations. The attempt has been on some of the biggest ones. Pathankot is one of the biggest and a forward air base that we have. It was also the scene of the 2016 terror attack. That attack has been thwarted. There was some attempt at the Jammu Air Force Station. That has also been thwarted. And then, of course, the Air Force Station in Sirsa, which has also been thwarted. In response, India has attacked the Noor Khan Air Base, of course, which earlier used to be called the Chakala Air Base of Pakistan, one of the biggest just in Rawalpindi, in the heart of the general headquarters, is barely a few kilometers away, the general headquarters of the Pakistan military. So this hits right at the heart of the Pakistani military. But I can report to you that whether it was Udhampur, whether it was Jammu, whether it was Sirsa, whether it was Pathankot, whether it was some of these forward air force stations that India has, the attempt by Pakistan has been foiled. India has retaliated in good measure and targeted some very frontline air force stations of Pakistan. There has been, of course, increased shelling as well, heavy artillery shelling both across the line of control as well as across the international border. There has been some shelling in some civilian areas in Jammu, but I can report to you, so far at least, there are no confirmations on any civilian casualties yet. Akash is also through with us. Akash, so where you are in Jammu, there's been an attempt to try and hit the Air Force Station there, but that has been negated. What are you hearing in terms of where all India has hit Pakistan, particularly the Noor Khan Air Base, which used to be the Chakala Air Base before, one of the biggest. It's right in the heart of Rawalpindi. It's close to their general headquarters. That would not have gone well. And those pictures, that video, I think somebody there, that's the third picture that you're seeing on the right of your screen, somebody capturing that on your mobile phone saying, Bhaijan, they've hit the Noor Khan Air Base. Just walk us through what India has done in response to this very hot night between both countries.
Right. So Noor Khan Air Base, you rightly pointed out, in Chakala of Rawalpindi, near Islamabad, has got critical air assets. Zaka, I was mentioning it earlier that how their transport aircrafts as well as their military fighter jets are very much there. They're operating there, several drones, in fact, from there. And we have been told that, In fact, the air assets in that particular Air Force stations were on target and have been hit successfully. And also, Sialkot Air Force Air Base, in fact, which is in Punjab, it has got JF-17 Thunder aircraft, F-7PG, and several other air assets as well. It was hit, and in fact, we are not learning about the airstrip, but yes, the air assets was on target, and the target was successfully hit. In fact, we are learning about Murid Air Base, that is in Chakwal of Punjab. This is a smaller air base, but is technically important air base, and we have been told that primarily supports training and secondary operations. And the drone attack that was launched towards India was very much supported from this particular Air Force station, and we have been told that it has got fighter jets and possibly some drones as well, and it was successfully targeted by Indian Armed Forces. So these three Air Force stations we have got confirmation for several air assets, and in fact the infrastructure was on target and it was successfully hit by the Indian Armed Forces. Also in retaliation, now Pakistan is trying to make a dent, and in fact is trying to hit our Air Force stations, but they are not successful till now. And our air defense is very much working, 80 guns, and in fact the the systems that we have is very much working. It's the daytime now. We have been seeing the escalation particularly in the night time from last 24 to 48 hours, but will it continue in the daytime as well? What will be the next course of action as far as India is
Akash,
concerned?
I'm sorry to interrupt. The image that I'm showing on the left is also from Jammu. It's a civilian area. There is a temple called the Shambhu Temple in Jammu. We're given to understand there's been a projectile that's hit. We don't know if it's a drone or a missile, but a projectile has hit just outside the temple. No casualties. That is the important thing. You can see the remnants of the wreckage there. This is mobile phone footage that's been shot by one of the individuals there. You can see the wreckage that's strewn all over the place. This is called the Shambhu Temple in Jammu. Again, the good news is that there is no casualties there. There you can see the main gate, the pillars leading into the temple. So on the outside perimeter of the temple complex, there's been a projectile hit. Again, the good news being that there is no reports of any civilian casualties in the Shambhu temple attack. Aman is also joining us. Again, I want to go big picture for our viewers who are tuning in a little past 6:30 this morning, this Saturday morning. There has been a visible amping up by Pakistan. India has retaliated. Pakistan's attempts have been foiled. The attempt was to try and target some of our forward air bases in Pathankot, in Jammu, the military station in Udhampur, etc. But all of that has been foiled, Aman. In response, India is hit back with a combination of drones as well as missiles. And some of the Air Force station attacks in Pakistan have been very, very successful. What are you hearing from top government sources?
The big picture that we're hearing is that the government is very, very clear that April 22nd was the original escalation by Pakistan. India responded to that escalation through Operation Sindoor, and our attack was on the on the terror infrastructure in Pakistan, the terror headquarters in Pakistan of Jaish, of the LET, of the Hizbul, and this was because Pakistan did not act against them, and over 100 terrorists were killed in the Indian strike. For India, the offensive had ended there. India did not want to take it further. Beyond there, India very clearly said we did not target any civilian population, neither any Pakistani military infrastructure in Operation Sindoor. The escalation the Indian government feels is now coming from Pakistan. First, through these drone attacks for the last 2 nights, which now seem to be, Zaka, more of recce missions. These drone attacks seem to be more to assess our strength of our air defense systems, our alertness, where are our air defense systems located, maybe also to try and exhaust maybe some of our air defense systems before the actual attack comes. Indian government is also now seemingly very clear that Pakistan decided to wait for the IMF bailout before launching its big strike, because it did not want its IMF bailout to be jeopardized in any manner. And this shows that soon after the IMF bailout, Pakistan cleared its airspace today morning and has launched an attack through ballistic missiles, not only at our forward Air Force bases in Pathankot and the Udhampur, it has also tried to attack our major cities. So this is a major escalation by Pakistan. That is what India is saying. India never targeted earlier Pakistan's military infrastructure, but because Pakistan has now, upped in a way the game, India is not shying back, and this attack on the airbase in Rawalpindi by India is to show how deep India can hit. And I think India is still trying to tell Pakistan to get the message to de-escalate. But if Pakistan does not de-escalate from here, Zaka, Indian government sources are telling me that we will also not stop now, and Pakistan will be taught a lesson.
All right, so our reporters are spread across the length and breadth. Ishan is joining us from Srinagar. Akash is joining us from Jammu. In Delhi, we have Arunima and Siddhant joining us from South Block. There's going to be a briefing by the Foreign Secretary at 10 a.m. Last 3 days, the briefing has been done by the Foreign Secretary along with the two young women officers of the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Siddhant is also joining us from South Block. What are you hearing, Siddhant, in terms of what the MEA has to say? The briefings have been going on by the Foreign Secretary. Any word you're picking up on, our international players trying to intervene? I believe there was a statement put out by the G7. The Saudi Deputy Foreign Minister, who was here in Delhi a couple of days ago, he was in Islamabad yesterday. And this visible upping the ante by Pakistan has happened after the announcement of the IMF, the bailout announcement of $1 billion. What are you hearing from MEA?
Well, that's right, Zaka. In fact, just a short while back, Zaka, we have been told that press briefing by Foreign Secretary, which was expected to take place at 10 a.m., has again got delayed. In fact, they have told us that they're going to inform us again when and where this press briefing will take place today. Perhaps, as Arunima was also pointing out, that the ops are still going on. The focus is on Sky at this point in time, Zaka. And in fact, yesterday, India also decided to close Kartarpur corridor, Zaka. Perhaps that was an announcement which Foreign Secretary made, because India knew that this is coming. This is coming. The time Pakistan will secure the bailout package from IMF, they are gonna hit us. Day before yesterday, Zaka, what happened post midnight? Perhaps they sent more than 300 UAVs. Perhaps we have also been told that those UAVs were not even loaded, were not even armed. Those UAVs were only sent to locate our air defense systems. Perhaps we knew about it, and we did not use our best of the systems in place. In fact, we shot them down using aircraft gun. This is what I'm being told. In fact, since then, India was preparing that what they did day before yesterday was a recce visit. Perhaps, they are going to hit India, and they could target forward bases, Pathankot, Jammu, etc., those locations. So India was fully prepared for it. As you rightly pointed out, at a diplomatic level, perhaps, India is not escalating. Foreign Secretary again reiterated yesterday that the first and the only escalation was the 22nd April attack in Pahalgam. India is only responding to the escalation by Pakistan. In fact, yesterday in the press briefing also, Foreign Secretary highlighted, Zaka, that how religious sites have been targeted in Poonch. There's a convent school which has been targeted.
I'm going to come back to you. We're getting more information, courtesy Manoj Gupta, our investigations editor, that a bunch of missiles have been fired. I can't reveal the exact number, but a bunch of missiles have been fired from the Srinagar air base. That too, Pakistan has tried to attack, but there is very minimal damage that has happened there. So from the Srinagar air base, missiles have been sent, and a Pak Air Force jet, at least one we can confirm, possibly more than one, but definitely one Pakistan Air Force jet has been shot down by missiles that have been sent from the Srinagar air base. So that is a big development. One Pakistan Air Force jet being downed by India. Remember, Pakistan has a combination of the F-16s, which are the American fighter jets, the fourth generation fighter jet, and also a combination of the JF-17 and the J-10. The JF-17 is the 4.5 generation Chinese fighter jet, and the J-10 the fourth generation fighter jet. So it's a combination of Chinese as well as American military jets, fighter jets that the Pakistan Air Force has. We don't know which of this has been brought down, but at least two Pakistani Air Force jets have been downed by India in missile strikes that have been launched from the Srinagar Air Force Station. Arunima, what more details are you hearing? There was supposed to be an army briefing earlier this morning. I believe there wasn't much information that came from there, but at 10 o'clock, the Foreign Secretary is expected to brief the press. But this big development that we are breaking right now on our screen, at least two Pakistani Air Force fighter jets have been brought down by missiles that have been fired from the Srinagar Air Force Station.
I think this was the air operation which led to the delay and subsequent postponement of the briefing. We got a message early in the morning around 5 a.m., quarter to 5, that by 5:30 there will be a briefing in the lawn, which you can see in my frame in South Block. But when we reached here, we were told that the air operations were still on and there were intense operations that were going on, and therefore it's not feasible to brief and put out the correct picture at this stage because it was a developing situation, it was an ongoing situation. We were also told that while the entire focus is on the sky, it's the air operations which are giving a bloody nose to Pakistan. On ground, there is intermittent firing that is going on along the line of control. And now I'm hearing that in Rajouri, there is intense artillery fire. Some civilian houses in Dhangri have also taken the hit. So Pakistan is trying to cater to its own domestic constituency by targeting civilians. First, they have targeted civilians in Poonch. Now, similar exercise going on in Uri and in Rajouri as well. So while their air assets are being taken down after their misadventure, they're trying to respond on the ground by artillery firing, which is also being responded to very strongly by the Indian Defence Forces.
All right, so there's going to be a briefing. We know that 2 Pakistani fighter jets have been shot down by India. What these jets are, I think we should hold back on that, at least the make of these jets, what these jets are. But definitely 2 fighter jets of the Pakistan Air Force have been brought down by missiles that have been fired by India. All right, we're going ahead and saying that these are Pakistani F-16s. I want to be very, very responsible, very measured and restrained in our reporting that India has shot down 2 Pakistan Air Force jets. Despite all of this fog of war and all of this confusion that happened a couple of nights ago, we can now report to you early Saturday morning there has been a dramatic escalation, clearly an attempt by Pakistan to climb up the escalation ladder. They have gone up a couple of notches, a couple of rungs in that escalation ladder. India has responded measure for measure. Pakistani Air Force jets, 2 F-16s, have been shot down by missiles that have been launched from the Srinagar Air Force Station. Akash, what are you hearing from your top defense sources? PAF aircraft down.
I have no independent confirmation on that. Manoj Gupta is bringing us this input where, he has been reporting that how 2 F-16s, have been in fact brought down by the Indian Air Force. So we'll wait for the official confirmation as well. But this is big, Zaka. This is big. We have seen that how, F-16 was very much there, a part of the sort of, activities that happened in 2019 when the dogfight actually happened between MiG-21 and F-16. And even at that time, we know the whole episode of Wing Commander Abhinandan, but this time around, we are learning that, we have shot down these F-16s. I'll check for with the Air Force as well for the independent confirmation. But Manoj Gupta has been reporting that how 2 F-16s, in fact, have been downed by, the Indian Air Force. In fact, we have got several sort of videos, that are, in fact, somewhere confirming, the debris and, in fact, some sort of smoke, coming from a distant place. Ishan has been reporting this. But it is big, Zaka, given the fact that Pakistan Air Force, consider, itself as a superior force. They have always challenged, Indian armed forces and, in fact, Indian Air Force specifically for the dogfight because they think that their machines are superior, their training is superior. And this is one development where, it is a slap on their face where, they have been trying the military establishment, military infrastructure in different places. Here in India, none of, them is successful. But this time around, we are learning that in Srinagar, at least 2 F-16 aircraft have been downed by the Indian Air Force, Zaka.
So 2 Pakistan Air Force jets have been downed by the missiles that have been hit by the missiles from the Srinagar Air Force Station. So bringing you up to speed, the big picture that Pakistan has escalated over the last 6 or 7 hours post-midnight after the announcement by the International Monetary Fund that they were releasing the tranche of $1 billion, part of the $7 billion package that Pakistan has managed to procure from the IMF, emergency bailout money. Right after that, and right after the Deputy Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia left last night, there's been a dramatic escalation by Pakistan. Multiple attempts at forward air bases, at Air Force stations from Jammu to Pathankot, which is one of the biggest Air Force stations in northern India. In fact, it is bang on the border with Pakistan. It was also the scene of the terrorist attack that happened in 2016. We're also learning that the Sirsa Air Force Station was also one of the targets of attack. But all of that, the Udhampur military station, all of that has been thwarted by India's air defense systems. And now in retaliation, India is hit and brought down 2 Pakistan Air Force jets. They've been brought down over Srinagar, is what we're given to understand. These are deferred visuals we're getting from Udhampur, and the visuals that you're seeing on the left side is India attacking the Noor Khan Air Base, which used to be called the Chaklala Air Base earlier, hosts a big military college as well. It's very close to the general headquarters, the heart of the Pakistani military. There's been a massive attack there on the Noor Khan Air Base by India in retaliation to what Pakistan tried to do overnight. Let me go back to Aman, Arunima, reporters. Aman, again, as we await the Foreign Secretary's briefing in about 3 hours' time, what's the word that you're getting in from our top defense sources? India, of course, wanting to be absolutely certain that we are the responsive authority here. We're responding to the escalation by Pakistan. It is Pakistan that is choosing to climb the escalation ladder.
Zaka, and what government sources are also saying that we were prepared for this. We knew that a major attack by Pakistan will happen. We were very, very clear that the drone attacks which were happening, on Friday night, we also saw these big drone attacks. This was mainly, Friday morning, I'm sorry, was mainly to assess our air defense preparedness. Pakistan was waiting for the IMF bailout. This information and this intel was there with the government that the Pakistan will only launch its big strike after the IMF bailout process is over, and that is what has happened absolutely in the way India anticipated. India's defense system was at an all-time high early this morning also, and we were anticipating this to happen. That is very, very clear. India is also saying that this upping of this escalation by firing these Fatah series missiles, not just on our forward air bases like Pathankot and Jammu and Udhampur, but also at our major cities, especially Delhi, is a major escalation by Pakistan. This shows that Pakistan's intentions are not good. We have to safeguard our territory, we have to safeguard our assets, and that is why we've hit at the heart of the Pakistani army in Rawalpindi, the Chakala Air Base. A very, very secure facility inside Pakistan which India has managed to hit. This shows that India is giving this warning to Pakistan that you need to stop here, because if you escalate further, India then will not stop, because India considered Operation Sindoor as it's a major operation, in retaliation to what happened on April 22nd in Pahalgam. But this is now showing that Pakistan, Zaka, is in no mood to stop, and India is responding in equal measure.
So there's also visuals we're showing on the top right of your screen, which is from Jammu. It's a Shambhu temple. There's debris of a projectile that you can see strewn all over the place. This is just on the outer perimeter of the temple. Let me also go to Arunima. Arunima, who's in South Block for us. Arunima, what are you hearing? What are you hearing from your top government sources? This Pakistani jets being downed, is a huge statement by India. Pakistan Air Force jets that have been shot down over Srinagar airspace. But the attempt by Pakistan to try and target some of our forward military stations, forward air bases, that has been thwarted. And in response, India has targeted, among others, the Noor Khan Air Base or the Chaklala Air Base, which is one of the biggest that Pakistan has. Also the Chakwal, the Murid Air Base, again in Punjab. And you also have one more, the Rafiki Air Base. 3 air bases of Pakistan have been targeted in missile strikes by India. What more do you have?
Yes, so Zaka, they had put out a statement late last night saying that 26 places were targeted, and they're just sticking to that for now as far as official word goes. Yes, they have told us that the intense air operations are going on, but on that specific input that Manoj Gupta has about India taking down a Pakistani jet, the South Block is not confirming that as yet, and understandably so perhaps, because even day before yesterday night there was intense speculation that similarly a Pakistani jet had been down and a Pakistani pilot had been taken into custody, but India has remained non-committal. They've not confirmed, not come on record on that. So in this case also, I think they will take their time, and once they are ready to share the details, only then will they come out with an official confirmation. Because of course, even though both sides officially are just calling this a conflict, the terminology of war is not being used officially. The fact is that if that is the situation, and if you have someone in your custody, then the Geneva Convention will apply. prisoner of war rules will apply. That perhaps is the reason why they're calibrating their next step. But Manoj Gupta is learning that the air operations has resulted in one more bloody nose for Pakistan. Their top of the line asset, their top of the line aircraft has been down. We're not taking the names and the details as yet, but there is worrying news coming in from the line of control as well. Intermittent firing is targeting civilian population there in Rajouri, in Poonch, in Uri. It has been on and off, on and off. Intermittent is what we've seen over the last 3 hours. But while India is giving them a bloody nose in the sky, they're trying to retaliate by taking out their frustration on civilians.
All right, Arunima, stay on with us. So if you're joining us at 7 o'clock, top of the hour this Saturday morning, it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan, both along the line of control as well as the international border. But the important one is the air attacks. There have been attempts by Pakistan to try and neutralize some of our forward air stations, forward military bases. Let's look at what Pakistan has attempted to do, and I'll get to what India has done, and successfully at that, in response to that. Udhampur is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Command. The attempt there has been to try and neutralize the Air Force station. It's a smaller Air Force station there. Pathankot is one of the biggest. In fact, it is our forward air base. It's spread over 2,000 acres, multiple, squadrons of our fighter jets are stationed there. It was the scene of the 2016 terror attack. Again, that has been foiled by India. In Jammu too, the Air Force station there, the Pakistanis tried to try and neutralize. Why is this happening at the level of the Air Force stations? That is the first line of defense. When countries go into conflict, when states go into conflict, the first attempt is to try and neutralize the ability of the enemy to scramble his jets. That's what Pakistan attempted to do. Sirsa too, again part of the Western Command. It's one of our big Air Force bases, stationed to squadrons of the fighter jets. This is what Pakistan was attempting to do. In response, what has India done? India too has targeted Pakistan's forward air bases. Let's get out that second map. What India has done in response to what Pakistan tried to do. And you look at this map, what stands out are the air stations that India has attempted to take out. And you can see those pictures as well from the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi. This is one of the biggest air bases that Pakistan has. It played a role in the 1965 and 1971 wars as well. This was earlier called the Chaklala Air Base. It is right in the heart of Rawalpindi. The general headquarters, Rawalpindi, is not too far from the air base. In fact, there is a famous Pakistan military college that's housed inside the Chaklala Air Base. It's now been renamed as the Noor Khan Air Base. You saw those pictures recorded by an individual, a civilian there, looking up at the big cloud of fire and smoke going up at the Noor Khan Air Base. Then further south, the Chakwal Air Base, it's called the Murid Air Base, again was active in the 65 and the 71 wars. The Chakwal Air Base too has been hit successfully by India. And then you have a smaller one in Sialkot. It's called the Rafiki Air Base. Again, a lot of transport aircraft, the C-130s, the Il-76s, they've been housed in some of these air bases. The Sialkot Air Base in southern Punjab has been hit as well. And Sukur, which is a civilian defense technical airport, Sukur has also been hit in Sindh. So basically in the heart of Punjab as well as in Sindh, these are the two biggest provinces in Pakistan. They have been successfully hit by Indian Army and by Indian Air Force. So what happens when a conflict begins? The first attempt by both parties is to try and take out the other side's air bases, because the ability not to be able to scramble jets, that is a significant tactical advantage in any conflict. So the attempt by both sides has been to try and take out each other's air bases, particularly forward air bases, render the runway unusable. That is the attempt. Once the runway becomes unusable, then it's difficult to scramble your jets, and thereby you are taking off a tactical advantage that the enemy has. That's what India has done last night to some of these forward air bases in Pakistan. Noor Khan, of course, this will have huge ramifications that are running through general headquarters, the military headquarters of Pakistan. Pakistan's attempts, whether it's in Udhampur, in Pathankot, in Jammu, in Sirsa, have been thwarted, and India in response has carried out significant damage to some of the air assets that Pakistan is hosting. Akash is there with us from Jammu. Ishan is there with us from Srinagar. Arunima in South Block. Siddhant is also joining us from South Block. Akash, first things first, the Jammu Air Force Station, Pakistan did try to take down the Jammu Air Force Station and render the runway unusable, but that has been thwarted by India. What are you hearing from what attempts have been made by Pakistan overnight and what India's response to that has been?
Zaka, possibly they have been trying the batteries, the air defense batteries, because the locations, I will not specify, but the locations that they have been trying, are, somewhere carrying the air defense batteries and the systems, and they want to, destroy the air defense system, given the fact that, yesterday it was done by India. Last night also they tried several Air Force stations, but they failed in that, and in fact, after India retaliating back, they are trying it once again in the morning. We have been learning about Pathankot, that how they tried Pathankot Air Force Station. We have been learning about Udhampur and also in Jammu. In Jammu, I was hearing sounds till 30 minutes back, but now it seems that it has stopped. And in fact, civilian population was on target as well, because they want to, spread panic here in India, because, their narrative on social media seems not working. Indian Air Force and in fact Indian Army or the armed forces for that matter are coming up with official statements. We have been seeing the briefings on a daily basis, and in fact Indian media is acting responsibly, and this is the reason why Pakistan is frustrated and they want to spread panic. They are targeting civilian population as well. We have seen Firozpur, we have seen today Jammu as well, that how there was some sort of destruction in the civilian area. As far as the air defense system is concerned, so we have been reporting that how they are targeting the airstrips, not just airstrips, so that jets cannot be scrambled, but also the Air Force air defense systems. S-400 we have been reporting about S-400. We have been reporting about Akash, Pechora and everything else related to it. There is an open source information that is available. A maximum of it is not true, but yes, we won't reveal the exact details and the specific details, but they have been trying air defense systems. We have been learning about ceasefire violations at the LC in different areas in Rajouri and Poonch specifically, where fighting was on till 10 minutes back, and we have been learning about Kashmir as well. Manoj Gupta is talking about their fighter jets in fact down by Indian Air Force. We will be looking for some more confirmation on that as well, but yes, it is big development where they have been failing in every of their attempt, but Indian Air Force, Indian Armed Forces have not only hit them in their house, but also have been destroying their jets and also the drones that they have been sending.
Okay, Akash, stay on with us. Ishan is also joining us, but before I go to him, we can report to you that the Air Force station in Udhampur is safe. The Jammu Civil and Technical Airport, both are safe. Pakistan has been targeting civilians. We're given to understand, and we saw those pictures of the Shambhu temple in Jammu, where there has been wreckage of some missile that we can see. In Janipur, Rehari and in the Udhampur parts of Jammu have been targeted. The bordering areas of Rajouri have been targeted. Araspura has been targeted. And there have been ceasefire violations in Arnia, Uri and Akhnur, all of which are, of course, on the line of control. So there have been ceasefire violations on the line of control. There has been violations across the international border in Rajouri, in Araspura, in Udhampur, Janipur and Rehari. These are all in Jammu. So both on the IB as well as the LC, there have been heavy artillery shelling that Pakistan has tried to carry out. Also, that important word that we got overnight, Pakistan launched the Fatah-II missile. It was headed in the direction of the national capital is what we are given to understand, but India's air defense systems thwarting that in the skies over Sirsa in Haryana, and that is a major escalation by Pakistan in response. India has hit back, and you can see the picture in the middle, which is the Noor Khan Air Base, one of the forward air bases of the Pakistan Air Force, one of the biggest, in fact, that they have, played an important role in both 65 and in 71. It used to be called the Chaklala Air Base before, houses the Pakistan Military College there as well. That has been now attacked in a significant way by the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Let's also go across, if we can, do we have Ishan? If we have Ishan, we can go to him. All right. Arunima, coming back to you again. So we have two sets of action that are happening. One, of course, the ceasefire violations and the heavy artillery shelling that are happening both at the LC and in the international border. And then you have this missile and drone activity that's happening courtesy the Indian Air Force, which is trying to take out some of Pakistan's forward air bases. Tell us what a night it's been between India and Pakistan in these last 6 or 7 hours.
Yes, so what we are hearing as far as ceasefire violation goes, that the firing in Jammu, in Rajouri, in that division has stopped over the last 15-20 minutes, about almost leading up to half an hour. We have not heard the intense shelling that was going on. This was intermittent firing in any case, and South Block was confirming that this has been going on off and on. The last half an hour or so, it seems to have gone down. However, the bad news for Pakistan is that one of their top-line aircraft has been taken down. That's what Manoj Gupta is reporting, and looks like that for now, as the sun has come out nice and bright, for now Pakistan's misadventure has been halted. But come evening, will they make an attempt again? Over the last 3 days, consistently they have tried to breach our airspace and been thwarted by our air defense system. Even this morning, we got a confirmation from South Block, from the defense sources, that yes, the attempt was made at Udhampur, the attempt was made at Pathankot and at Jammu. In Jammu, they managed to strike civilian areas. A temple a missile landed near a temple, and some houses were damaged.
All right, Arunama, give me a moment. We're just
confirmation
showing
is coming
pictures of wreckage from a drone. This is in Amritsar, in the outskirts of Amritsar, in the rural parts of Amritsar, I believe. You can see the wreckage of the drone there. Do we have audio on that clip? If we do, I think we should try and play up that audio. Clearly, you can see some of the wreckage, some of the damage from last night. All of that wreckage parts being sort of strewn around the place. These are from the rural fields of Amritsar. I believe some cops are taking this footage. Civilians there in the vicinity as well. These are on the fields. The fields, of course, have been plowed for the sowing season. There you can see the remnants of the wreckage there of what looks like a drone. We don't know if this was an exploratory mission, a probing mission, or whether there was any kind of explosive that was attached with this drone. From this wreckage, it's difficult to identify what make it is or which country's drones these are. But India did call out yesterday in the press briefing Turkish drones that were made by Turkey and used by Pakistan to send on that exploratory mission that happened on the first night, the night of 7th and 8th of 8th and 9th of May, where you can see some of the cops there standing on the fields. This is what happened overnight in Amritsar. You can see those pictures of the remnants, the wreckage of a Pakistani drone there in the fields just in rural Amritsar. Let me also get in a word from Siddhant if he's there. Siddhant, so Foreign Secretary is going to brief in about 3 hours' time. Likely he will have the two women officers as well, Colonel Qureshi of the Indian Army and Wing Commander Singh of the Indian Air Force. What is the assessment that India is having right now in these last 6 hours or so? Because there's been a visible escalation and climbing of the escalation ladder by Pakistan overnight.
Well, that's right, Zaka. In fact, we've been told that the press briefing of Foreign Secretary has got delayed. In fact, now this press briefing will take place later in the day when the armed forces will have full assessment of the situation. Zaka, talking about the developments which have taken place in last 24 to 48 hours, perhaps there were 300 to 400 drones which were sent to India. They were dropped into India from Leh to Sir Creek, and in fact these drones were largely unarmed. These drones were sent day before yesterday to locate our air defense systems, but we understood that why this is being done, and we had fired and brought all of them down, all of the drones down through our air through our air guns, and perhaps at that moment only India understood that Pakistan is planning something big. Then what they did, Zaka, they did series of press conferences, perhaps camouflaging their yesterday's to camouflage their yesterday's operation, because they also didn't want the entire IMF bailout to get jeopardized, and perhaps they did series of press conferences, raking up Samjhauta Express blast, raking up issues like 26/11, that how India did not send witnesses to Pakistan for the trial purposes, etc., etc. So those things were said in the press conference. But India knew that they are gonna they are planning something
okay
big.
Just give me one second, Siddhant. These are shots from Lahore. It seems like a posh area. You can see the wreckage of some destruction, some material that's been used. You can see a big sort of smoke and fire going up. We don't know if this is a missile or a drone. It doesn't look like a drone. It looks much more bigger in that sense. It looks more like a projectile of some form of missile that's been used. This is in Lahore. It looks like on the outskirts of a major road. Whether this is in a deeply populated part of the city or whether it's on the outskirts, we don't know again. But this is from Lahore, and you can see fire and smoke on the sidelines of a major road. Whether this is a highway or an arterial road, you can see civilians there trying to capture the images. It seems like fields that are just off the road. The fields seem to be on fire, and you can see the remnants of a projectile as well. It doesn't look like a drone. It looks much bigger in size. It looks like some kind of missile remnant that has fallen there in Lahore. So these are the images that we're getting in from Lahore of what India has done. It's one of the places that India had targeted in Lahore last night in response to what Pakistan has been doing, trying to take down some of the Air Force stations and the military stations as well. So bringing you back to what happened overnight, we also know that 5 missiles have been fired from the Srinagar Air Force Station. 2 PAF jets, Pakistan Air Force jets, have been brought down. The image that you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen is from a place called Lasjan. You can see the wreckage of what seems like a projectile. It seems like an explosive added ammunition, added a drone that's been taken down. Parts of some of the remnants of this wreckage you can see on the left side of your screen. I want to go across to Ishan. Ishan, what more details do you have?
Well, what we know that some part of it has fallen into the residential compound of a house, and the mobilizing of troops has started around the location. There was definitely a dogfight that we're given to understand, and air-to-surface missiles were activated immediately after the activity was detected. What we have given to understand is that the Srinagar airport and every particular base is running on a high alert to ensure that none of the Pakistani aircraft enters the Indian airspace. And if there is any possibility, they are shot down immediately. And also what we know so far that, the forces are trying to ensure that if at all there's a possibility of further escalation in Srinagar or areas surrounding it, particularly the defense establishment, that aggression is, dealt with severely and ensured that they are able to hit back at those targets from where these missiles are coming. We don't want to give out any operation details, but for now, what we have been given to understand is that the debris has been found, and there's a possibility either a jet or some projectile which was fired has landed in a residential area near Srinagar. It's close by to the highway connecting Srinagar to rest of India, but a debris has definitely been found. More troops have been mobilized to that location, as we are also heading towards that location to give you an exact clarity on what it is and whether really an aircraft has been shot down on the outskirts of Srinagar.
All right, stay on with us. Lasjan, I believe, is a place on the outskirts of Srinagar. You can see wreckage. We are given to understand that this is wreckage from some kind of an aircraft. That's the word, the preliminary word that seems to be coming. You can see one of the motors that's strewn around. I believe parts of this wreckage have fallen into a residential compound of an individual who's living there in a place called Lasjan. What more can you tell us? Is there any word, Ishan, about what is this wreckage, what it likely... I mean, is there any word, some preliminary information seemingly suggesting that this is one of the Pakistan Air Force jets that was brought down, but it seems quite small. Some smaller parts seem to have fallen in this individual's residential compound.
Well, yes, but it can be anything. As of now, there are no confirmations about what it is, but there are reports that there was a dogfight which took place over Srinagar. There are further details that we don't want to speak about at the moment, but definitely sources indicating that there was a dogfight over Srinagar, and possibility of aircrafts being shot down has not been eliminated. What will give further confirmation is that once they'll be able to find the wreckage, they'll be able to spot it, they'll be able to see it, and then only can we have confirmation that any fighter jets being brought down. But there's a possibility that the sort of action that we have been witness to, or what we have heard from the top officials, it seems like the India's surface air missiles possibly had been able to hit any projectile of aircraft or incoming the thing that came from hit down. And what we have been given to understand is that the systems have been activated around Srinagar to ensure the safety of residents as well, because there's a densely populated area where this projectile has fallen, and now the assessment is being made what it really is, and further details are awaited. The senior officials from the Air Force and other forces are now trying to reach out to this location to ensure that they are able to take this projectile in their custody, and if there is a jet which is lying around, that possibility cannot be eliminated as far as the sources are telling us.
All right. We're also getting word from Akash, if he's there, as we look at the wreckage of this, likely from a downed fighter is what we are told, a Pakistani Air Force fighter jet. This is in the Lasjan area in the outskirts of Srinagar, as Ishan is trying to make his way there. Akash, I believe your sources are saying that there was a dogfight as well?
Yes, Zaka. In fact, I have been learning that there was a dogfight, possibly after which, we have downed these Pakistani jets. Now, we are not sure if, because of the dogfight, it came down, or because of the air defense systems, it came out. But yes, wreckage is there, and in fact, we have been seeing the parts. You rightly pointed out, it seems like some motor or some other part of the aircraft. We are still not sure as to which aircraft it was. Reports are suggesting that it can be one F-16, but we'll wait for the official confirmation for that. But yes, sources, in the armed forces are somewhere confirming that a dogfight indeed happened between the Pakistani and Indian jets, and it was an intense fight. Operations are still on. I won't reveal much of it, but yes, activities have been happening. They have been trying missiles since morning, but till now, we haven't seen any sort of major damage as far as military infrastructure is concerned. Yes, Air Force is very much involved in the operations. Air Defense is very much there in the operations. Whether or not a dogfight is still happening, or it has happened, in the past 1 hour, 2 hours, we are not sure about it. But yes, dogfight happened at one point in time, and possibly after which, we have brought down these two Pakistani jets, in the Kashmir and in fact in the nearby areas. We'll get more details, Zaka.
All right. Ishan is also headed out to this Lasjan area. How far is it out from downtown Srinagar? And do we know any further information about where this has landed, Ishan, and whose house this is? These are, so I want to be very clear, and we should be very clear with our viewers. This image is from Lahore. This is the likely remnants of a projectile or a missile that India has hit Lahore with. You can see some of the fields just off the main road up in fire. You can see some civilians trying to take pictures of what is happening. So this is Lahore. I want to be very, very clear. We should tab that with where the location is of these pictures. And the other image that we were showing, the daytime image, this is overnight. The daytime image that we were showing is from an area called Lasjan, which is on the outskirts of Srinagar, where you can see some of the wreckage of what is believed to be a Pakistan Air Force jet. Can we go back to Ishan to try and find out, do we have any information on where this has fallen? I believe it's the house of some individual, who this person is, and what he has managed to find in his residential compound. How far out is this place from downtown Srinagar, for example? All right, we've lost Ishan. We'll try and go back to him. So, two separate images. The one on your left is the one from Lahore overnight, shot by some Pakistani civilians. You can see a bunch of them that are gathered just off a main road. It looks like a highway of some sort, but just off a main road. And you can see fire in the background. Some of the fields are up in fire. There's a lot of smoke, black smoke coming up. And you can see the remnants of a projectile, a wreckage of a projectile. We don't know if it's a missile, whether that's a drone. It's unlikely it's a drone because it looks much bigger than a drone. It looks more like some kind of a missile, a short-range one, if you will. And these are images on the left again of the Shambhu Mandir in Jammu. You can see that on the top right part of your screen. There is wreckage of a Pakistani projectile that's been found there on the outer perimeter of that temple. So they've been trying to hit civilians. Massive damages across the LC, where ceasefire violations have been happening for 3 nights now. I believe in Rajouri, for example, a senior government official has also unfortunately lost his life. That's been tweeted by the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Omar Abdullah, that a senior government official has lost his life there. I think Arunima has more details on that, so maybe we can go to her to try and get that sense. But pictures that we're showing from Lahore on the left, fields up on fire, and the wreckage of what looks like a missile. And then you have on the top right of your screen images of the wreckage from a temple in Jammu, the Shambhu Mandir in Jammu. But Arunima, the details that you have of a government official unfortunately losing his life in the shelling that has happened in Jammu overnight.
Yes, so Rajkumar Thapa, he was an assistant, district collector level officer in Rajouri. A shell landed at his residence during, intense firing in Rajouri, the ceasefire violation that was happening, and a shell landed at his residence, and he was subsequently rushed to the hospital, but he is no more. And Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, in fact, has tweeted his condolence message. What Chief Minister has said, he's confirmed that this is a devastating news that is coming in from Rajouri. He says we have lost a dedicated officer of the Jammu and Kashmir.
All right, Arunima, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but these are shots that we're getting of India intercepting some of these Pakistani missiles. This is from last night. We don't know the location of where this has been intercepted, but you can see the wreckage, huge smoke going up in what seems like a field. But this is the image of India intercepting Pakistani drones. Can we have the location of where this has come from? Checking with our producers at the back end. But these are live pictures, not live, these are pictures that happened from last night. And then you can see the aftermath of the wreckage of the drones that have fallen in what looks like fields. We're given to understand that this is from Jammu. If we can get Akash to walk us through these pictures. Akash, this seems like some kind of CCTV footage that's been recorded overnight. You can see two separate visuals. One is the drones going up. You can see those flares in the sky. There you go. The flares up in the sky. And then the second image that you can see, the second visual that you can see is of the wreckage. There's massive fire going up in what looks like a field. Akash, what more can you share with us about specifically these pictures?
So, Zata, while we know that drones have been sent by the Pakistani forces towards India, we know that many of these drones are being operated from the forward post of Pakistan, the military post of Pakistan. This is one video where Indian Army has basically destroyed one such post where, which was in fact earlier a terrorist launch pad. Infiltration was happening in that particular area, and there were inputs in fact that, it is happening from that particular post. It is working as a launch pad. And now we were learning that, drones are being operated from that particular place. This post has been destroyed by Indian Army. It is near Jammu, and it has been destroyed by Indian Army. These are the visuals where we are seeing, in fact, the visuals, fire coming out, and in fact, after the hit, in fact, the smoke and every other aspect of that particular hit. These are the visuals. The Indian Army has basically destroyed this Pakistani post, which was, carrying out this sort of infiltration, and in fact, the attempts were happening for last so many days, in fact, and in fact, this particular post was facilitating the drone movement, and in fact, drones were launched from this particular post. There were inputs, and after, that Indian Army basically, has hit this particular post, Dhaka.
Stay on with us as we show these pictures, as well as multiple pictures that we're getting from Lahore, as well as from Jammu and Srinagar. In Srinagar, on the outskirts, in a place called Lasjan, we're given to understand that there are remnants of a Pakistan Air Force jet that have landed in the residential compound of one individual. We were showing you those pictures a moment ago. But these are images, CCTV images likely of India intercepting these Pakistani drones. There you go. That's the first set of images. You can see the intercept happening in mid-sky. And then the next set of images are the remnants of the wreckage up on fire and smoke in what looks like fields. This is from the Jammu region, is what we've given to understand. Siddhant, in terms of diplomatic maneuvers, have you heard anything, any interventions, anything from the Americans, the Europeans? The Saudis, of course, were here both in Delhi as well as in Islamabad. But it seems like, the level of intervention seems to be far less, certainly from what President Trump and Vice President Vance have said, that it seems like India and Pakistan's problem, and it is up to India and Pakistan to sort it out.
Well, that's right, Zaka. In fact, we are also getting statement from G7 foreign ministers, Zaka. And in fact, they have unequivocally condemned Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, that statement could be seen more inclined towards India. And in fact, the G7 foreign ministers have also urged for a de-escalation. As you rightly said, that a junior foreign minister of Saudi Arabia day before yesterday came to India. In fact, he met Minister Jaishankar. His convoy was in fact spotted outside Prime Minister Modi's residence, though there were no photographs released by either side. Yesterday he was in Islamabad. Perhaps there was a meeting with Shehbaz Sharif and Army Chief Asim Munir, and in fact those photos were made public by the Pakistani side. In fact, now we also got release from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in fact confirming that that the junior minister was the envoy of Saudi Arabia. Perhaps it was an effort which was given by Saudi Arabia to de-escalate tensions between India and Pakistan. Now, Zaka, as you rightly said, as far as United States is concerned, perhaps, they have condemned the attacks. In fact, they extended full support to India at all levels in United States. All offices have perhaps condemned the attack. But yes, the last interview of J.D. Vance, perhaps the remarks that he made, that, it gave a sense that, America is not much interested in de-escalating tensions between India and Pakistan, or rather America does not want to be the part of another war going on, or perhaps a part of a peace process of another conflict, rather, Zaka, which has started. So that could be America's strategy, Zaka. But having said that, it is very important to highlight, Zaka, that this action by Pakistan is coming after the IMF bailout was announced. Perhaps the world should take note of it, and this is exactly what India said yesterday at the board meetings, that how Pakistan misuses the funds for the terror activities. And in fact, there is also a chapter on Pakistan misusing funds for terror activities in IMF itself. India cited that chapter only to get the funds.
All right, Siddhant, just give me a moment. These are visuals. I want to once again go back to these pictures. This is India intercepting drones, a Pakistani post from where these drones were sent. We're given to understand that this is in the Jammu region, so you can see two separate sets of pictures. One, the interception that's happening, likely by the indigenous air defense systems, the Akash missiles. And then the second set, this is the second set of visuals that you're seeing, which is the wreckage, the fire and the smoke after the interception, the wreckage falling onto what looks like fields there in the Jammu region. So you can see both these sets of images. These are CCTV images from last night. It's been captured on closed-circuit television. You can see those flares going up in the sky, the interception happening up in the sky, and then the wreckage falling out in the fields. So if we can go back to Akash. Akash, just walk us through these pictures, as my colleague Anand is also gearing up to show us some of these images. We have separate images from Lahore. This is the image from Jammu region that we're seeing, the flares up in the sky and the interception happening. Arunima, I don't know if you can see these pictures, but what are you also hearing from top defense sources about what seems like not just a drone set of attacks now? You're seeing missiles and also reportedly word about 2 Pakistani Air Force jets being brought down in the skies over Srinagar.
Yes, in fact, just on the outskirts of Srinagar, there is an area called Pantha Chowk. When you move from Srinagar towards Jammu on that highway, the first place that